Hi, my name is Jordan from the Hooters of Washington, D.C. Have you ever ordered a plate of our amazing Hooters wings and not known the best way to get all of the meat off the bone?
Imagine walking into a restaurant where the smell of wings hits you first.
No way!
Televisions line the walls, beer flows, and servers in tight white tanks and orange shorts greet you with a practiced smile.
You're gonna love what you'll see on the inside.
For decades, this was the Hooters experience. Loud, familiar, borderline iconic. But today, that scene is vanishing. It's 2025. Hooters, the once dominant chain known as much for its servers as its wings, is filing for bankruptcy. Foot traffic is down. Locations are closing. And the brand that once defined a category is crumbling under debt and cultural irrelevance. So how did this happen? Because this isn't just about wings or marketing. It's about what happens when a business builds itself on a vibe the world no longer wants. Let's rewind. Hooters opened in 1983 in Clearwater, Florida. The original idea? Kind of a joke. A group of 6 businessmen wanted to build something fun. They called it a restaurant, but it was really a beach-themed hangout drenched in male fantasy.
Hooters, where all the big guys hang out.
Cold beer, comfort food, and the Hooters girl, the company's trademark attraction. Young women in skimpy uniforms, trained to be flirty and friendly but never explicit. It worked better than anyone expected. Hooters didn't just survive, it exploded. It became part of pop culture. There were calendars, merchandise, golf tournaments, even an airline. By the early 2000s, Hooters had more than 400 locations worldwide and was pulling in hundreds of millions in revenue. The formula was simple and it was unapologetic. Sports, sex appeal, and salty food. You went to Hooters for the wings, but you stayed for the waitstaff. But times change, and somewhere between 2008 and now, the Hooters formula started to feel stale. Younger generations weren't buying it. Millennials and Gen Z didn't flock to places where objectifying women was the main draw. They wanted experiences, not gimmicks. Inclusivity, not outdated gender roles. And somewhere along the way, Hooters stopped being cheeky and started feeling creepy. Culturally, the world moved on, but Hooters didn't. Even worse, competition ramped up. Chains like Twin Peaks and Tilted Kilt doubled down on the restaurant model, but with upgraded interiors, broader menus, and better branding. Meanwhile, fast casual spots like Shake Shack, Sweet Green, and Chipotle started dominating lunch and dinner with fast, high-quality meals and zero cringe. And when the Me Too movement hit, it hit Hooters hard. The brand that once leaned on the idea of sexy service suddenly looked like a relic. Even loyal customers began to question whether a plate of wings was worth the weird atmosphere. But here's the thing. The culture shift wasn't the only problem. Financially, Hooters was a mess too. In 2019, the brand was sold to private equity firms, Nordbay Capital and Triartisan Capital Advisors. These firms don't buy companies for love. They buy to squeeze out profit. And the way they do it is debt. After the acquisition, Hooters was saddled with over $300 million in liabilities. Meanwhile, efforts to modernize the brand, like changing uniforms or softening the image, backfired. Longtime fans hated it. New customers still didn't bite. They even tried a fast casual spin-off called Hoots. No skimpy uniforms, a lean menu, and grab-and-go service. But it didn't stick. It felt like a watered-down version of a brand that had already lost its identity. Then came the pandemic. In 2020, COVID-19 shut down indoor dining across the country. Restaurants that pivoted fast to delivery and takeout survived. Hooters wasn't one of them. Their model was built on in-person energy, on TVs playing sports, beer flowing, and Hooters girls moving from table to table.
Oh my gosh, I am such a klutz. I am so sorry.
It's okay. You couldn't replicate that on DoorDash. By 2021, Hooters was closing locations quietly. No big announcements, just lights off and signs down. Then, in early 2025, it all came to a head. Hooters officially filed for Chapter 11 bankruptcy. They plan to sell all 100 company-owned restaurants to franchisees. Translation? They're offloading the burden and trying to keep the brand alive through licensing alone. CEO Sal Malili said this was a move to reinforce the company's financial foundation. But let's be honest, it's a last-ditch effort. What's left of Hooters will be run by franchisees, with no central control. It's survival mode. Whatever parts of the business still work will be managed independently, and whatever doesn't, it's getting shut down. The financials are rough: shrinking sales, soaring debt, and hundreds of jobs lost. But one group stayed surprisingly resilient: the original Hooters in Clearwater and about 20 other locations managed by HMC Hospitality Group. CEO Neil Kiefer, who's been with Hooters since the 90s, said those stores are profitable and expanding. Their approach? Go back to basics, keep the experience fun, dial down the edgy, and turn up the hospitality. It might work for them, but the big picture is clear. Hooters as we knew it is over. So what can we learn from this? First, branding that leans too hard into outdated stereotypes doesn't age well. What worked in 1995 doesn't work in 2025. Culture moves forward. If your business doesn't, you'll get left behind. Second, private equity is not a savior. When companies get bought by firms focused on returns, not vision, they usually end up squeezed dry. The brand weakens, the culture suffers, and customers feel it. Third, a restaurant is more than a menu. It's a mood, an experience. Hooters created a specific vibe, and when the vibe stopped feeling good, the whole model unraveled. And let's be honest, people don't need a gimmick to eat wings. They want good food, clean spaces, and to not feel weird bringing their family or partner. Somewhere along the way, Hooters stopped delivering that. But this isn't just about Hooters. This is about every business that clings to nostalgia while the world changes around it. Every brand that says it's always worked before, as they ignore every sign that it's not working now. The lesson here is brutal but simple. Adapt or die. Hooters had decades to evolve. Instead, it doubled down on an image that aged out of relevance. And by the time they tried to pivot, it was already too late. So next time you see a business struggling and wondering why, look past the product. Look at the people, the culture, the message. Because if the only thing you're selling is a memory of what used to work, then you're already in trouble. And if you're building a brand today, build it for where the world is going, not where it's been. Because trends fade, hype fades, but respect, value, and relevance, that's what lasts. And if your restaurant needs sex appeal just to sell wings, maybe the wings weren't that great to begin with.